am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
What the fuck is up out there? Happy Sunday morning and welcome to Metal Bent Chronicles, the Church of Heavy Metal, and where metal lives. That's right, you know what? This video is long overdue. That's right, you know what? We got a collection update video for you. This one is definitely at least 3 to 4 months in the makings, you know. And it's time to finally do this video. Now I'm going to go through the CDs I bought, I would say since about July or August, so. And we got about 20 CDs to burn through here. So, you know what, let's just get started without further ado. Well, you know what? Finally got a Ross the Boss CD. Now this one I bought back in the end of September, early October, and this is his 2020 album, Born of Fire, his third studio album. He is working on a new studio album, by the way. I'll tell you what, I definitely regret not getting this sooner, or last year, you know, or any of his CDs, you know, before that, you know what I mean? Because this right here is just some scorching, smoking, heavy metal, speed metal, you know, power metal. It's good stuff. It's fucking miles better than anything Manowar has done in the last 20 years or so. So yeah, Ross the Boss, obviously formerly the guitar player, the original guitar player of Manowar. Excellent CD. This definitely would have been in my ranking if I would have had it last year. So moving on, now I got a reissue here. Now this one I got in the mail about 2 weeks ago. I'm trying to get all the creators at the moment, because I am missing some creators in my gap. So anyways, I don't really have to make an introduction to this album. Everybody knows it who's into Creator. It's the very first Creator album I ever heard way back in the day. I had it on cassette, actually, at one time, years and years and years ago when I was still in high school. I'm talking about Coma of Souls. Now, this right here is a reissue. Yeah, it's a Noise Records reissue, distributed by BMG, too. You know, I have a couple other of these reissues. I really like them. So, yeah, man, Creator, Coma of Souls, you know, don't really got to talk much about it. Double disc, you know. There's the band. Yeah, man, really solid classic thrash metal, you know. Is it my favorite Creator album? No, it's not, but it's definitely high up there. Okay, moving on. Now, this one I just got in the mail a week ago, and I want to thank Thralls of Metal, actually, for turning me on to this. Yes. And this would be the debut album by this side project, featuring Caballeros. You know where I'm going here. Go Ahead and Die. Featuring Max Cavalera, Sepultura, Soulfly, Nailbomb. You know, do I need to give this man an introduction for real? It's Max Cavalera after all. And this has his son Igor Cavalera on guitars. And he does some vocal work too. So yeah, you get Max and Igor, father and son duo here. And this thing is brutal. Very old school sounding. You know, the guitars have that old school fuzzy death metal feel to it. Kind of like Entombed or Grave or, you know, Dismember, kind of in that style. It's pretty freaking brutal, man. I'll tell you what, man. Max sounds fucking... Oh, dude. He kind of sounds like he did on Morbid Visions or Bestial Devastation with the echoey, reverbish type of death vocals, or, you know what I mean. Aggressive thrash vocals. Now here's another one. I know I got this one quite a while ago now. This one I got back in July, maybe the end of June actually, to be honest. Now this one, okay. This one's actually a Rox Records release. This was never actually released. And this features Alan Tuma of Ultimatum on drums. This is before he was in Ultimatum. I'm talking about Combat Faith. You know. Now, this one right here, it's called In Your Face, by the way. It's just a collection of, like, early recordings. You know. It's very raw sounding, so it's definitely not polished at all, but it's a pretty cool listen, you know. I can kind of hear a bit of a Deliverance influence, you know. Probably more of a straight up just heavy metal type of feel to it, as opposed to thrash metal. But yeah, Combat Fate, pretty good stuff, man. You can get that on Rox Records, by the way, and yeah. And Scott Waters, I believe, did all the artwork here. And actually, thanks to Scott Waters, he's actually the one that recommended me to go buy this months ago. Okay, here's another one I just got. I'm trying to think when I got this. I got this, I believe, back in August. But yeah, Possessed, the death metal demos, which is basically a collection of the early Possessed demos. So, you know, you get the death metal demo from 1984 on here. You know, you get the track from Metal Massacre 6. Yeah, Metal Massacre 6 from 1985 here. Rehearsals 1984 and Live, I believe it says 1987. But anyway, yeah, man. A nice collection of some early Possessed. You know. Obviously, you know, legendary, and the inventors of death metal, in my opinion. But yeah, it's a pretty cool purchase indeed. Well, this one I really don't have to talk about. I've actually showed this in live streams, but why not show it in a video, right? And I do have it on vinyl. I'm going to show the vinyls in a separate video. Yeah. Everybody was talking about this over the summertime. Iron Maiden Sujitsu, don't really got to say much more about it. It's definitely not going to be in my top 10 ranking this year. Sorry, Iron Maiden fans. I mean, it's got excellent artwork. The artwork's absolutely killer for this, you know. I mean, I kind of like how they have an album cover, then it looks like you got another, like, album cover. Excellent artwork, I will admit, but just another Iron Maiden album that just does not go at a very fast rate. Let's put it that way. Don't gotta talk about it. We've talked about it to death. Everybody has, actually. Of course, it's Iron Maiden. Of course, people are gonna talk about it. Now here's one I got off eBay because I have not heard this band in a very long time, and I'm like, you know what, I want to listen to this band again. Now, I believe this is their second album. This came out in 1996 on Nuclear Blast. I'm talking about the gothic metal band Darkseed. And this album is called Spellbound, came out in 1996 on Nuclear Blast. I think I paid like $6 for this. It was very cheap, but you know, I figured I'd get it. You know, it's one of those bands that you don't hear about at all anymore. And they are a German gothic metal band, kind of in the style of, I would say, a band like Sentence, like, you know, the more recent Sentence, or, you know, after Amok, going into Down, and, you know, through Crimson and Frozen and those albums. And the vocals on here kind of remind me of a young James Hetfield. Kind of a cool listen. I know gothic metal ain't for everyone, but I was going through a stage where I was really getting back into some gothic metal over the summertime too. Now here's another band that falls along the lines of the doom metal, gothic metal type of style too. The band's called Elastis. Now this came out in 1997 on Century Media. If you like the band Samael, I'm sure you would probably dig this. Musically quite similar, to be honest. The Other Side is the album. Pretty cool listen. It's definitely cool to listen to on a moonlit night, if you're driving around on a back road. Anyways, moving on. I used to have this one years and years ago, and I rebought this too when I ordered these CDs off of eBay back over the summertime. I'm talking about the third studio album by Tiamat, Clouds. Now this is a remaster. This has some live material on it too. Remastered by Century Media too. So yeah, I got this, I gotta replace the CD case. It's all cracked and shit, but really good album. I used to listen to this album a lot, CD a lot, way back in the day. I remember hearing this for the first time back in the late 90s, actually. And yeah, this is basically when they were still a death doom band, morphing more into a gothic metal band, Really good album, in my opinion. Tiamat Clouds from 1992. And yeah, one of the early bands that was on Century Media Records, ironically. Anyways, the next one I'm going to show you, shout out to Mark G with a C, by the way. Excellent YouTuber on here, an awesome dude. A good friend of us here in the VC, here in the music community. And I don't know how I slept on this one for so many years, and I didn't realize he played in this band. He plays the guitars in this band. And they are currently working on a new studio album, just put out a brand new single, and it sounds freaking awesome. But yeah, so the band is Enchantment. Now this is a reissue by Peaceville Records. I believe there's a couple different versions of this out there. It's not the original Century Media Records edition, obviously. But yeah, Dance to Macbury Naked. Really, really good album. And I had no clue how much of an influence this album had on a lot of death doom bands at the time. Yeah, I just found out about this recently too, over the summertime, which is really weird. Yeah, I was watching a stream on, I'm trying to think who did the stream now. Marty Worm did the stream. They were talking about like early Century and Media releases, and this came up, and he brought up that Mark G played guitar in Enhancement. So really interesting. Good stuff too. Really good stuff. I could see why a lot of bands were influenced by this. And yes, so that's pretty cool. He was signed to Century Media at one time. Alright, moving on. Now we got some new stuff to show you here. Okay. A new 2021 release, and they just had an album out last year, too. This is their 26th studio album. And I don't know how this band does it because they keep getting better and better. I'm talking about the new Rage album, released on SPV Steamhammer back in September. Okay. Resurrection Day. Wow, it's this good. This is definitely going to be in the top 10. I can tell you that right now. I'm not going to tell you where it's going to be positioned at. Why would I give that away? But my goodness, what a great freaking album. This band just keeps getting better and better. And 26 freaking albums under their belt, quite impressive. Here's another one, too, I bought used when I was at the record shop about a month ago already. I'm like, man, I don't have no Manowar in my collection anymore. I used to have a bunch of Manowar at one time. And I found this used and I just grabbed it. Metal Blade reissue here, but the 1983 second album, the sophomore album following Battle Hymn, Into the Glory Ride. Ridiculous album cover, obviously, but what more can be said about this? Probably the doomiest Manowar album. Yeah, it definitely has more of a doom metal feel on this album. It's really good though. It's classic. It's fucking Manowar. Don't gotta talk about it much. Okay, we got a few more here to show. Another one I bought off of eBay, which was really hard to find for a reasonable price for the longest time, but I finally found a copy of this for a decent price. I'm talking about the 1998 album by the thrash metal band from California, Defiance, with Void Terra Firma. Follow up to the debut products of Society. This right here is a great freaking album. Very underrated. Nobody talks about this band. And they are currently working on new material. So yeah, definitely check out Defiance. If you like Testament, I'm sure you'll like Defiance, because the vocals sound a heck of a lot like Chuck Billy. Great, great stuff too. Very underrated. Nobody talks about them, like I said. Here's another 2021 release, excuse me. Oh my god, this is a freaking excellent thrash metal album. Another band that just keeps putting out scorching thrash metal albums this late into their career. I'm talking about the newest Flotsam and Jetsam album, Blood on the Water. What an excellent freaking album. CD, whatever the hell you want to call it. Just a great piece of freaking thrash metal music on here. I definitely recommend you check this out. Man, a very thrashy, pissed off sounding album. Hey man, it's freaking good stuff. Okay, moving on now. Another 2021 album here. And I'm going a little bit more melodic here, because I love this guitar player. I'm a huge fan of his work, actually, and I own everything he has, except for his ballad albums I don't have. I'm talking about Axel Rudy Pell, Diamonds Unlocked 2. They do a killer cover of Painted Black on here by the Rolling Stones. Yes, I know that's been covered to death, but Axel Rudy Pell's version of it is freaking amazing. It's good. You know? But yeah, just a collection of covers done and performed by Axel Rudy Pell. So yes, that's another 2021 release. Getting down to the end now. I ordered this one off of Bandcamp. And the drummer of this band is also the drummer of Thrash or Die. Now this one can definitely be a contender for Album of the Year, because this is a freaking good, solid slab of traditional heavy metal here. I believe this is their debut album too, yeah. Anyway, the band's called Midnight Spell, and the album's called Sky Destroyer. Just got this about a month ago too, excuse me. Excellent stuff. This is like really, really good, solid traditional heavy metal, man. Definitely along the lines of that new wave of traditional heavy metal that's been coming out, you know, over the last 5 to 10 years, man. I'm telling you, it's really good stuff. Okay, up next, another classic thrash metal album that I've been looking for a while. And, you know, finally found it on eBay for a reasonable price. I'm talking about Artillery's By Inheritance. Yeah, I showed some of these on a live stream already, but you know what? I figured, you know what? We gotta do a video on this. Excellent thrash metal album, produced by Fleming Rasmussen, who produced, you know, those classic 80s Metallica albums. Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, and Justice for All. And this definitely kind of has that sound to it. I mean, this is definitely more melodic. I would probably call this the Master of Puppets in the Artillery discography, and probably their biggest album. Really good stuff, though. And the only album I believe they made where the only album they made where they're playing in E-tuning, which is pretty interesting. Because every other album they're playing in drop D tuning. But yeah, really, really good, solid thrash metal album that came out in 1990. And last but not least, did a review on this, did a track review on this. Wow, what a great album. What a great album. Obviously, I'm talking about the new KK's Priest. Yes, indeed. That's right. Sermons of the Sinners. I'll tell you what, this is a great comeback by KK Downing. 70 years old. Could still play guitar like no other. Could still write solid traditional heavy metal. You know, a mixed bag coming into this from a lot of people. But I'll tell you what, dude. This is the freaking album Judas Priest should have made when Ripper Owens joined the band in the first place. Solid stuff. If you like Painkiller, you know, Screaming for Vengeance or Defenders of the Faith, I think you'll enjoy this. Anyways, that's my collection update. Stay tuned for the live stream later on tonight. The Sunday show, the Metal Ben and Mean Mike show, starting at 10 p.m. tonight. Stay tuned for it. And keep it metal!